Hello, everybody. We're back after the first game here of the first series of the day with the Rally Cry halftime show. It's your girl Summer here again, and I've got Lennon and Dimitri Mazel and Alec Battery after that game just finished. Pretty surprising result, at least for me. I thought the FLYF were just going to walk away with this one.
As soon as we saw the Jacks, we
should have known.
You should have known. We literally heard like so much talk about the fact that Jax is important, how these two top laners play the same. We saw the Malphite come out, and you were saying it was for the first time for Lunacia, and that was not the matchup. The way the matchup was supposed to go in our eyes. There was supposed to be a little bit more fisticuff, a little bit more back and forth.
I was promised a Camille game. So.
I think the issue is that the matchup wasn't Jax versus Malphite, it was Jax versus Vi in level 1. I think that was the real problem there. But to talk a bit more about the jungle, I think Wallflower really came into his own here in this first game. We talked a lot about how Team Tony Top has been a notoriously slow and late game oriented squad, but I mean, Wallflower came out the gate swinging with 2 super early plays on this Maokai. Very, very impressive stuff, I must say.
Insane. Just I think a bit of a better switch for them when we're talking about this team. Obviously, he's most played as Wukong, and he's able to do similar stuff to that. I was really, really excited to see a Wallflower who's invigorated and someone who wants to play on stage again. It was one of his stated goals coming into this year. He not only wants to be a collegiate starter, but he really wants to get some of that stage experience. And so, hey, if you're able to promote, maybe you get some of those stage games at the end of the season.
And it's also the fact that they knew where a lot of the momentum and a lot of the strength comes from for FLYF. Yes, you can talk about Lunacia all day long. You can talk about Sword and Instinct and bot lane, how Blaze performed, but a lot of the advantages come through Hyper, and Wallflower made sure to shut that down.
Yep. Really impressive stuff from our qualifier team here in the first round, taking the first game against FLYF. And, you know, in light of Team Tony Top and their recent rebrand, I've got a bit of a game for us to play. And by game, I mean a tier list that I've put together. And let's get this up on the screen. It's going to be a game for me because I've compiled some of the most memorable and iconic team icons.
There's some good ones.
The last 3 years of gameplay. This is coming from teams that qualified for Proving Grounds, as it was called before, and of course we've got a few of them that are more recent, like Team Tony Top right there in the middle. I think we should just start by going down the line here. Do either of you remember what
AOE?
This one is here?
Is that AoE randoms?
It's something AoE.
Yes, that is AoE randoms. Right. The dice with the smiley face. We got the AoE logo here. The randoms as well.
The randoms? No.
Yeah. I like this one a lot. This one's never one of my favorites because we've got 9 of them here. So I don't think this could possibly go in like the S tier, maybe even A tier. I'm feeling a strong C here. Or any
So, I'll give it a C. I'll give it a C.
Sure. Okay.
I'll give it a C. Because I have some thoughts on some other ones. All right.
Yeah, that was from, by the way, I believe summer of 2021, where they qualified for Proving Grounds back in that year. Moving on to a more recent one, 2022, DK Crew. Now, this one is iconic. A lot of the Harrisburg University players on this roster from that era. And this one's iconic for many reasons. Firstly, the 32 seed all the way to top 16 from the Swiss bracket of that qualifier. That was wonderful. We got some rap videos from Grapes and Deserux.
Yeah.
I think that bumps it up a lot. I'm feeling a pretty strong S from DK Crew.
I was gonna say,
Brand is strong with this one.
I was gonna say, so it's a tier list for the actual logos. So I don't know. I mean personally, I'm kind of trying to disconnect the brand a little bit.
Okay.
Like all of that stuff was secondary.
Trying to take it serious.
Right.
I think it's an A. I think it could be an S. I think if we made some stronger arguments, but as it stands by itself, I think it's an A.
I have another tier. I have another tier for S. So I'll go with the A too.
Got it. Is it because the banana looks more bruised? Is that what the issue is?
I would honestly, if depending on how many people in Twitch chat have watched the new Mario movie, I'm pretty sure you might bump it up. I heard it in immediately
Alright.
thought of grapes and Desiree.
So-
without
So
without
A tier then? Is that where we're
A-tier,
landing?
I'd
Yeah,
say
all
A-tier,
right.
I think so.
yeah.
That's fair. All right, let's move on to No Org. So No Org,
Oh,
the
goodness.
winners of Proving Grounds in 2021 spring against Cloud9 Academy at the time. Of course, did win the entire thing, but this is a logo tier list. So
Yeah,
we got to
it
remove the accolades from everything. Where's the logo landing?
That's a
for you
D
guys?
for me, Cap.
What?
A D. Whoa.
D.
Whoa.
It's an
Okay.
N.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Like, I don't know what you want from me.
I want to give it at least a B or a C. There's no
Ooh,
way that
okay.
there's no way
letters.
we're saying we are not saying that the
letters, man.
AoE randoms is better than the No Org logo.
It's at least
clean.
Okay.
dice and
It's
with
simple.
some background information because it's random, so it's a dice roll.
All right.
Like,
We'll
it's
split the
just
difference,
something
okay? We'll put it in C.
Okay.
We'll split the difference there. Not quite in D. I don't know if that's fair. Let's keep it moving though. NFT. So this is
God.
no team.
S plus.
S plus.
S plus.
There
Put
isn't
it
an
on
S
top
plus.
of, ahead of
Yeah.
S.
This is also
This
just
is-
letters, Lennon.
But it was at peak moment. It was literally when NFTs were like so big and like when it first started, and they were like, "No, we're making our team." Even though it doesn't
No.
actually stand for NFT, it is actually hilarious.
I feel
No
like
freaking
Lennon from the
team.
last round. I want to put this in D. The only way that this logo gets better if you showed any of the team graphics that these guys made.
Yes.
Tier
True,
3.
true.
They're all like hand drawn in paint. Beautiful
Right.
stuff. All of those.
If
guys.
it was a full branding, then it might get bumped up here. But just for the
I need
logo,
the
it sounds
Fruit
like you're
Basket
bumping it down.
Warriors.
real.
True. Oh, I should have put them
Where's
on
that
here.
one?
That's
That
a
was
shame.
bigger.
That'd be an S. That'd be unfair, honestly, for them to be in here.
It
So,
would be, it
where,
would be.
what letter are you picking, Dimitri?
I want to put it in D. I'm okay with putting it at
Wow.
D. There's
Well, it
no
has
way.
to be B then. We got to split the difference
Yeah, I
because Lennon
guess.
has it
Oh
in
my
S.
goodness. I gave
no
you some
way.
leeway. At least I was just one tier.
Man.
Ain't no way.
All right. Well, we've got rock bottom here on our fifth one. We got to speed through these just a little bit faster.
think
This is
it's
a more
cute.
recent one. I like the rock.
It's
Yeah,
cute.
and if it's because their bottom lane are named Rock Boom and Rocks 908, so I think it fits the theme pretty well. It can't be an S though.
No.
is
No,
my thing.
I think it's like a.
This is a C level. C
Yeah, I
level
think it's
C.
logo.
I think it's a C.
All right. C's getting a little cluttered there. C for cluttered. We got Taco Gaming. So
D.
I like the colors for Taco Gaming, but yeah, there's no taco involved. Is my
There's no
issue.
Tacos. Where are the tacos?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm putting it in D for sure.
Hey,
Alright,
we
cool.
should have had the Team Fish Taco logo on here too. That
I think this
No,
next one
but
is going to be
that's like an
really
org.
controversial.
Yeah, okay, so here's Team Pending. So this is a bunch of the players from University of St. Thomas who could not play with Shogo at the time, so they put together this roster. This is where Masu came from. Fun fact for
Yeah.
anyone
Yes.
who did not watch the qualifiers back then. Team Pending, it is a smiley face.
It is.
How do we feel about the
I'm a
smiley
big fan of
face?
Smiley faces, so I'll put it at a B.
I'll put it at B,
B?
too. Yeah, I was gonna. I thought we were gonna be a little bit
Alright.
more split on
Wow.
this. Smiley
Okay.
face is definitely just better than letters.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
most used
all right.
emote.
So
True.
here's my thing. With these last two, we've got Team Tony Top, of course. They just won game one. We also have Zeus Gaming. I
I'm
think
gonna be
these are
mad
the.
if Zeus isn't an S. I'm just saying I walked
No,
off
yeah,
the broadcast.
I'm putting them both up there right now. These are the
Oh,
easiest
Let's
S's on there.
go.
This is flawless team branding. Dimitri, do you disagree?
Flawless.
I think the Tony Top branding is
Yeah.
funny. I would probably move it at A,
Exactly.
tier.
They're with you.
but
We need to
Oh.
rise up, Alk.
yes,
All right.
Yeah,
Well, we
just-
got to put it above DK Crew because the banana's too bruised.
real,
The banana's
real.
bruised, all right?
All right. Well, at least we can all agree that Zeus Gaming is indeed the best logo of all
Yes.
time.
Yep.
The toilet paper
Indeed.
cat. Yep. All right. Well,
Also
that's
one of the
perfect.
cutest cats as a mascot.
It was,
Yes, did you know Alorum actually just recently tweeted another picture of Zeus?
Ooh.
Yeah, everyone go check out Alorum's Twitter. We're going to be watching Alorum play League of Legends in a little while as well. Depending on how fast this next series goes, maybe Team Tony Top of A tier fame could win this second game, fellas. What are we thinking?
I don't see FlyFam's logo. I don't see FlyQuest on it, so it's an
I-
obvious
Ooh.
results-based analysis diff.
I need to see where Jax lands on the draft, so we'll figure that one out.
That's true. Well, speaking of the draft, we've got a draft ready for everyone right this moment. Maybe Jax will hit the ban list this time, or maybe Tony Top could get it again and take this one to a 2-0, upsetting most everybody, I feel. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Smax. As we'll be getting into our game 2, we do not have a switch up of sides. We'll see if that Jax does get banned away. If not, that's a first pick potential right there for Team Tony Top. We will see if adaptation and strategy comes through for FlyFam, especially the Malphite maybe not working out the way they wanted to. Give a little bit of safety in the late game, because I feel like that's what Tony Top is going to opt into. That's what Team Tony Top is going to opt into, and they found a lot of success with that in game number 1.
For sure. We'll see what ends up happening in the draft here. I think thematically, I do want to see FlyFam play a little bit more towards Lunacia, who's someone that we've been setting up throughout the day. We saw Blaze and Vi and Hyper have a really good roam. We talked about it. Yeah. Hey, we're going for that. We dropped the Rift Herald. We moved down to the bot lane, tried to go for the dive. But that Malphite pick just really isn't in Lunacia's wheelhouse, at least quite yet. And if we are on red side, which we did have side selection, let's just go for it. Let's try to go for something here. Maybe give him a better matchup.
It made it through. We got the Zeri ban instead. So, little deductive reasoning. They want to take away some of that late game potential. It's an install. We said it from the beginning. Again, the train is on its way already. Especially seeing the Jax come through, they can play around it so well. But it is about now what FlyFam feel comfortable with responding. They obviously feel comfortable in letting this go through. So now it's about execution on letting that get shut down. Last game they did ban away the Varus. This time they pick it up.
Yeah, that was something I was going to touch on is, hey, are we going to even potentially look to try to steal away the Maokai here? Something that's a little maybe less aggressive than what we're used to with Hyper, but picking up the Varus is also a steal away from Levitate, which is one of his most played champions. If we don't see Caitlyn on this next pick, then it's probably going to be them looking to grab the Lucian Nami here between these two. Here it comes. Everybody in chat, get your Lucian Namis out.
So... yeah, I have a little bit of bias. Obviously, LPL Lucian Namis are a different breed, it feels like. But I always love to see the opt-in to aggression in the lane, especially when you have a lane like this where Snow and Levitate actually got ahead last game because of a lot of help from Wallflower, but now they'll have a little bit more of an opt-in to, I expect Wallflower to continue to pat down there and see if they can find something for them. It's going to be that kind of ping-pong in between top and bot, it feels like already for Team Tony Top, but we do get that Heimerdinger response here from FlyFam.
All right, and so from FlyFam, I want to see them take away long-range mages, maybe that Azir that we saw coming out from Sudsy last time, and something that is going to be able to deal in the jungle. I thought Sejuani would be the pan here because that is also just in order. Wallflower is Wukong, Sejuani, and then Maokai. Like, he is just playing all the tank, all the engaged champions that are kind of maybe a little bit more Bruiser-esque. But yeah, good job from the side of FlyFam. And for Tony Top, just focus the top lane matchups. Yeah, right? Like Renekton, we kind of saw Thresh get banned last time. With Heimerdinger here, I think you are trying to fully focus on these solo lanes to get rid of them.
Yeah, we actually see the Vi locked away by FlyFam. Try to take that away from Wallflower. A lot of that facilitation that can come through, but especially the kind of point and click is definitely something you want to take away from this guy. We've seen so much experience already come to the table in game number 1. That was what was so crazy for me, is the fact that Wallflower saw what happened early, knew exactly the path of route, and took full advantage of it. And that's what you expect from a man like Wallflower, who has really come into his own throughout the growth of his season, but at least career. Now, we did get a Tristana rebanned from the game number 1 that actually FlyFam focused on, but I do wonder if we get that locked in here for Blaze, a little bit of finickiness in that one, but I want to see what the opt-in is here. For top side, it's actually the Scion, so going to the tank.
All right, yet again, not a great matchup for Lunacia here. We'll see how he can pilot these tanks. It seems they really want to focus on just getting so much priority. And man, oh man, we get Wallflower's Viego, his most played champion in competitive by a huge margin. His time in Collegiate, his time in LCS, he has done it all and has mostly been on Viego. And I talked to him, I was like, hey, how are you feeling about the jungle meta? He's like, this jungle meta sucks. I do not want to play jungle in this meta right now. Like, it's all tanks, it's all the boring stuff. I want Graves, I want Viego back, and he's had a few spots here in the qualifiers to play, and now here in the promotion tournament, we'll see what he can do here.
I really like the Ahri combo with it as well. Again, that was a combo that FlyFam tried to grab last time. The Vi and the Ahri, that duo, once it hits level 6, so strong, but now it's Team Tony Top who has the execution on their side of the rift, and we actually get the Talia locked in for Blaze.
I love this Taliyah. Taliyah is such a massive pick, something that Blaze showed off across the regular season and into Tony Top. Every one of these teams, like everybody stands in support, wants to jump in. Taliyah stops all of that, and I think Maokai and Sion do a wonderful job of that as well. As long as FlyQuest can be in position first in any objective, we're going to see them have massive control of Fog of War, and it's so difficult for Tony Top to get in unless they find an early lead.
And I love that FlyFam game number 1. They went no holds bar. We're going full on aggressive comp. Can we catch somebody out this time? Let's take a little bit of safety. Let's make sure we can handle a late game fight if we need to.
And similar to kind of the Ahri, Taliyah can be in a side lane, and then boom, she uses her ultimate, she can move on over. I'm actually going to be wondering what his rune choice will be, because if he takes the Summoner Spellbook, we have some interesting stuff that can potentially go on with Taliyah. But Mazel, I think this is the best position that FlyFam have been so far. We are in draft only, so anything can happen.
Anything.
But I love it. I love it already.
Well, you know where else everything can happen. It is on Summoner's Rift, as we have FlyFam with a threat of getting knocked down to the lower bracket here in our Spring 2023 LCS Challengers Promotion Tournament. And what a way to make a statement in game number 1 for Team Tony Top. They got the Jax twice in a row. They have a very aggressive comp. See if they can pilot that one to abandon here. Not completely sure about that tier list. Half of these logos should be SIMO, says Team Rally Cry. And, you know, they're S tier in our hearts, Alk.
In all fairness, it is Rally Cry's halftime, so maybe they have they should have a little bit more input. Yeah, they should maybe potentially have a little bit more input on the on maybe these tier lists here. But early on, we'll see what they can do as Tony Top. I mean, we talk about this always with Ahri, but hopefully she should be able to roam out and try to go for something with against Blaze, because Blaze, as soon as you find him out with a charm, that's donezo. Like, you're forcing a flash and maybe even looking for something a little bit more.
And I think something that came to bear very early last game was a lot of the mind games happening in the jungle. We saw Iconic really upend a lot of Hyper's early pathing, coming off the back of Tony Top's aggression at the level 1 mark, forcing Hyper, getting that first kill, and really having a strong lead in top side of the map. But now, again, I'm looking at Wallflower, where he's going to get active, because the Viego needs to be proactive. And what a pick for Wallflower, as you said, his most played.
Yeah, we will see as both junglers look to be pathing away onto opposite sides. So Viego wanting to end up on the top side, maybe make a little bit of noise up there, eventually even come into mid lane. And I mean, for Hyper, he's trying to get as much uptime on this red buff, so maybe they can look for a fight, maybe they can look for a scuffle either in the bot lane or more specifically in that mid lane. We'll see what ends up kind of getting off, but this is already a better start for Hyper. There's not a first blood that went down. He can just do his red buff in peace. He's playing Maokai, so he's maybe less damage oriented, but definitely has a bit more of the HP in the back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, gonna be a little bit more calm in this one for sure than game number 1. Gonna play a little bit more back, maybe a little bit more responsive. But that also gives a lot of leeway to a very aggressive start for Wallflower, who maybe looking for a little bit of mid lane action on the Blaze, try to punish this one, although Hyper will be in response territory.
Yeah, he's here. I mean, Wallflower is just trying to get priority to make sure that looks like Sudsy can try to go for a move here. Sudsy did just ding over to level 3, so didn't necessarily have that charm before then, but mostly just waiting, wanting to see what Hyper would do early on, and instead just goes over and finishes his half of the clear. Hyper will be ahead of him, and I mean, we're just kind of taking a look at where the lanes are right now. Like, Instinct and Sword are just slamming waves into Levitate and Snow. They want to try and get as much damage as possible, because then you have the potential for someone like Hyper to just alley-oop come in from Fog of War, and maybe they look for something.
See if they can find that. I will say Wallflower was coming out of the walls last game.
Yeah.
I'll see. Ooh, a lot of poke down on the Snow, and again, that aggression being point and present in the bot lane for FlyFam against this Lucianami, who have now hit that level 3 mark. A little bit of strength there, but Hyper back onto the map, and I think Hyper himself has had such an interesting path in Journey, at least at this point, and now on FlyFam obviously coming in as that kind of late season resurgence, the reinforcements, if you will. It's been an interesting journey for this guy.
For sure, and alongside him, Blaze as well, another person that was playing in Tier 3 last year, and I think did have a bit of a rougher start, but has just, I think, leveled up his play constantly, not only in kind of minimizing a lot of those deaths early on, but also taking a bit of a different role in the team. At the beginning of the year, is mostly those melee, some assassins that we saw early on from him, and really has changed up his playstyle to be a little bit more supportive for the rest of his team as to what they want.
So looking for a little bit of something. Blaze just gets caught by that charm here. He'll flash over the wall, does lay down the groundwork, and Hyper trying to help. There's Wallflower's flash. This is such a tightly contested 2v2. We won't get the flashes out of response, but we will get a couple burn.
Okay, but Blaze is now in a really tough spot because you look at Sudsy, he's still got some mana, he still has his flash available to him, so he should be able to do whatever he wants with this lane, whether that means pushing it or pulling it towards his turret. And Hyper's looking for something, like he has the flash, maybe trying to stop any early aggression, but Blaze just flashed and he just uses teleport, so he's kind of stuck in this lane for the time being.
Yeah, and not anything else going to come of that. So no early blood this time, about 5 minutes in. We do have our dragon up on the map. We did see actually FlyFam take very heavy reliance on getting that early. We're denied that though, Team Tony Top. Oh,
whoa, there it is.
There's that flash burn and capitalization. First blood for Sudsy.
Blaze was in such an awkward position there. He's like, if I back, I'm going to lose out on more minions, but if I don't, there's a potential for Sudsy to look for that solo kill, and right there is exactly what we were just talking about now. Hyper up here. They want to try and make this play because they know we're going to be waiting for our mid laner anyway if we really want to try to go for this dragon, but Tony's still pretty low, and Hyper still has that flash.
Yeah, and he's got the leaf strike. He's also got the flash though, so he'll make it out without even burning any of those except for the leaf strike. Now, I do wonder, we'll see obviously Hyper return to farming and that reactive game style coming out. Still a little bit of stabilization on top side of the map, but right now, for me at least, is still looking at Wallflower getting proactive. He's about to hit that level 6 mark. We're going to see if Reset City is a place that he wants to call home. And it's important for him to have resources on this Viego, right? You don't pick this pick to play reactively and wait around, right?
For sure. If they really want to try to get damage, again, it's going to be playing around not only the mid lane, but also this bottom lane, which we've been seeing. They've been taking some blows here or there, but it's fair as Heimerdinger. You usually don't get to have a lot of fun in this matchup unless the junglers come down. So we'll see what they can do. Blaze, remember, he is playing Talia. He is level 6 now, and this is a spot where they can look for a roam. As soon as Hyper has ultimate, which he should be getting really, really soon, these two should be on a war path to look for people. They should be going to the side lanes and going for dives. Tony, all they have to do, they have to try and survive, and I think the most important part is make sure that their HP bars are really high.
And we actually see no real priority on that dragon just yet from either side. A lot of priority looking for picks on mid, but obviously Team Tony Top trying to opt into that one a little bit more so, and that's where I find it's interesting the game style that we've had come out from FlyFam here, where a lot of the season we had an opt-in to Lunacia having very strong picks, right? A lot of lane dominance, even strength in side lane, but it was his laning phase that really brought him to the forefront, it felt like, for FlyFam. And against this matchup at the Tony Top, right, they've given the Jax over twice. It's been a tank-centered day for Lunacia, and it's been a different approach, I guess, in the building of how FlyFam are getting into this game.
For sure. He has been, he's been weak-sided for this series. They said, look, we think that our strength is going to be elsewhere. We think that maybe Blaze, Hyper, Instinct, whoever is going to have an advantage. We need to be able to allocate resources to them to make sure that they can do that. And I mean, you even look at Lunacia's stats from the entire split so far. 24 solo kills. He's 4th in top laners. And then you're looking at in lane, he's not putting up damage numbers. He's getting solo kills to try and even out the lane. And here now, putting him on tanks, it feels a little bit of that whiplash that we were talking about. This isn't the Lunacia that I think a lot of people were familiar with if you're coming off of watching the playoffs, watching regular season for Challengers League.
And that's where it was interesting when you talk to him and you hear about kind of the respect he has for Tony Top, the way that he feels they are very similar in their approach to the game, but also what they play, and that they're compared a lot in the scene itself, and that we do get this kind of change up in mentality. But it is, again, the biggest elephant in the room is the fact that Tony Top has gotten Jax twice in a row. And I see this lead top side. Well, last game, he died early for Lunacia. He was able to pull back the lane. It's looking a little bit harder to do this time around. We will actually see Wallflower taking that Rift Herald there as well.
Ooh, okay, so some early damage. They know that Hyper is here, so they're just trying to call the wave, but I think Snow's just going to be dead.
Nice flash from Snow.
I think they should still try to at least go for the dive. If not, just try to force them away from the turret. There you go. So similar to last game, the dive doesn't necessarily go through, but they are going to try and continue to get plates for their bottom lane, who, we haven't talked about them all that much, but Instinct when he has a good game, when we see Instinct in peak form, he is a huge contributor to this team. I mean, he is almost 30% of his team's damage share. So a lot of it is coming off of the back of him, but last game, and I think throughout the entirety of Challengers League, positioning and maybe some early game synergy from him and Sword, not on the same page.
Yeah. And it's interesting, though. Sword himself, a role swap to support, right? He was a mid laner, and it's been an interesting adjustment for him throughout, obviously, the time that he's been support now. But it's also, when we always bring back the conversation to experience, there is that much more experience on the side of FlyFam's bot lane than there is on the side of Team Tony Tops.
For sure. I mean, again, these guys are very, very new to competitive. Levitate has really not been able to play with many other supports, and so when talking to him about, like, hey, what are the things that you really love about Snow, it's just, we keep it light, right? We're just having fun, and that's a theme mostly throughout this entire team. I mean, this is a team where Wallflower wanted to play competitive, and he just started calling upon the Avengers. He's like, I want Tony Top, come play with me. Sudsy, you want to play? Yeah, exactly. They are just having, they're just trying to keep it light, and that's also something they've been talking to their coach. It is just, we're going to have fun. Like, if we win, that's obviously great. We are competitors, but let's have fun while doing it.
See if Wallflower has a little bit of fun here. He might not, though. Actually does. Get out of that one. Nature's Grass came away, but you did get the TP out of Sudsy, so that will be something burned at least.
That's really good, because now you see this. We're already talking about how much priority Instinct and Sword have had throughout this laning phase. Look at the vision right now for Tony Top. They don't see anything. There's nothing going on here, and it is all in favor of FlyFam. They know exactly where Wallflower is, and so now, for Lunacia, this gives him some extra safety, because you know, hey, if I ever see Viego on bot side, I can go for trades. I can play this Scion matchup, and we're already seeing a little bit of that. I mean, Tony Top had to take a reset here, and it means that FlyFam can at least feel a little comfortable with where they're at.
Oh, Sudsy's fishing. We'll be trying to catch out Blaze. Here comes the flash from Hyper, though. They might have the damage here before Wallflower gets there, but the Heartbreaker is alive, and well, Wallflower gets a kill. And that's 2-0 for Team Tony Top, with FlyFam have been the one trying to initiate back in these overextensions.
Yeah, Blaze, has been trying to find plays. We talked about it in the bottom lane where he used the ultimate to find it there, but he just doesn't do enough damage here. Neither of them really are able to put this out, and good flash coming out from Wallflower turns into this play. He just didn't use the flash. Blaze gets hit by the stun, and that's a really easy way for Tony Top to find kills and specifically find mid priority so they can open up Sudsy for either recalls or going for roams.
And what's hilarious is Wallflower didn't even use the Heartbreaker, just got the soul itself, and now it can go back on the map, has the Rift Herald that will be needed to be used very soon. Tony Top actually still played so aggressive. He's like, do I want to proxy? Do I want to go a little bit for a little bit of vision?
Chilling.
They do have that vision over Hyper as well on the top side.
He knows that he's going to be over here, and also just doesn't clear out the ward. So something, again, when we're talking about Tony Top, we're just talking about in general, vision is so important, and so far they're playing really well. I think, you know, word to obviously these players who have been playing for such a long time, but also their coaching coming out from Jito, formerly a Golden Guardians analyst. So really cool to see how much prep they've really put into this first game, or this first series.
Absolutely. It's been pretty impressive, obviously making a big mark in game number 1. But here we are in game number 2 with an almost 2k gold lead, and they still have that Rift Herald, which will be summoned up in mid lane. More pressure onto Blaze.
Yeah, they want to try to get most of these turret plates before they fall down. It's 13 minutes. You also have the dragon here, so hopefully with Sudsy, they are going to be looking to try to push. Now, there is no charm, and Hyper is here, so they're actually just going to get nothing from this. Wow.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of the timer for Wallflower. He was definitely waiting till the last second to get that in there in mid lane, but it does leave FlyFam in a position to respond. They will have priority over the dragon as well, so this will be second dragon to FlyFam.
For sure. Really good punish from them. Tony Top, I think, maybe kind of skipping a few steps and saying, oh, we can just drop the Rift Herald. They're going to drop it. We're going to get some turret plates. Instead, using that priority that we talked about from the bottom lane, gets them an early Drake, and that Dragon Soul that we talked about, saying, hey, FlyFam, they're not necessarily a team that focuses dragons very often or are able to secure them. This is a good start for them. Ocean Soul as well will be really meaningful when we're talking about all of the damage that we see from Tony Top.
It's going to be really needed, especially in a lot of these poke prod situations with them being able to have a lot of siege potential in front of objectives. You had already highlighted the Heimerdinger pick earlier, but they do just have a lot of spacing as well when it comes to fights. Now Blaze gonna get picked on yet again. Will flash, and that was a bit early friend, as now he will go down. That will be a third kill right from the mid lane. We'll see bot lane, though. We did get a trade, at least not trade. Snow has died. And you do have Levitate getting out, but maybe a follow-up not going to be there.
A 1-for-1 there, and while Tony Top are focusing on mid lane, good patience coming out from Sudsy to save the charm. It does mean finally we're going to see FLYF with a little bit of an objective lead here where they're able to grab the bottom lane tier 1. Now this bot lane can move in and start to negate some of that victory, some of the victories that we've seen from Sudsy and Wallflower.
And that's been obviously the game plan, right? We've had very tried and true game plans come out from FLYF. We'll see this bot lane fight, but they are putting all eggs in the bot lane basket for Instinct and Sword.
This is just clean. You were talking about the trees are coming out of the walls. Well, that one, they didn't even see the roots. The roots were not visible for like 60% of it. So good job from them. We do have some item completions coming out as Wallflower's already finished his Divine Surrender alongside his top laner. This means that Viego is super potent in a 1v1, especially up against these tanks. The healing that he is going to be able to do with his kit stops them from even going for the Rift Herald. They are not able to move their
move from Fly.
Yeah, their bot lane is a little bit late here from Tony Top, so it means that now more damage onto the mid lane. And I do want to see Blaze eventually move on, but I think he really wants to stay here for this Rift Herald. They really are indexing on it.
Ooh, has to burn that flash. We'll get a couple things burned from Team Tony Top, but that does mean that Wallflower and Tony Top himself will be doing the Rift Herald right now.
Sudsy uses the ultimate here. They're looking for it.
Wait, but that was a little bit of a bait. Levitate has to flash out of that one. Doesn't have the damage just yet on the Lucian to follow up the catch out from Sudsy, but it's been a bait the entire way. What? Again! Dude, this guy is insane. He even throws up the kickoff event emote. It's blabbers, crabbers, but it's hypers objectives all day long.
All right. I'm not happy about that, Tony Top. What are we doing, guys? Like, we had full control of that. Yep, never mind. Hyper, all believe in the hyper hype train.
How many clips do we need, my man? Like, I literally had 5 of them I could choose from in my folder. I chose 2 of them. We just got 2 more today off 2 games.
Oh man, I mean, what a great steal from them, right? Like, that was a really bad position that FLYF found themselves in, where they're getting pulled into the mid lane. Sudsy and Snow or Levitate making sure to poke them out and try to draw FLYF away from the objective, but no one from the side of Tony Top was actually in position to stop them. There was no walls, there was nothing, there's no tank standing there, so they literally just walk up and steal it. Thank you for the leash.
We will see the ghost actually pop there.
Oh, wait, Sword!
All of it. Sword has found the route. But the Spirit Rush is not enough to cannon. It's not going to be enough damage. That's the little bit of tankiness coming out from that Everfrost.
I love that Ahri can make it all the way from the middle of bot lane to under her tier 2 and be particularly fine. Did have to use the flash there, so will be meaningful for this next upcoming dragon in a minute and a half. Snow and Levitate are coming. There is a massive tidal wave.
Yeah, going to go right through the middle, though. Hyper using actually a little bit of that move to get through, but it does beat his death. They'll be chopping some wood for Team Tony Top to make a fire.
Yeah, now I think they are put themselves in a bit of a tricky situation. 25 seconds before Hyper is alive. Instinct good cleanse coming out from Levitate, but that is going to be something that is going to be missing for this dragon, and 50 seconds before it spawns, Hyper is not necessarily going to be on time for this. And now with the bot lane recalling, with everybody coming back onto the map, they're really preying on Sword, Instinct to be there first, get mid priority, and then move over and try to collect this dragon, because if they're able to stop the soul point collection, Tony Top are feeling very good about their chances here in the game.
And the problem is for FLYF is they just haven't hit those second item completions, right? You already have that rapid fire cannon completed for Levitate, and they're going to have a lot of strength if they can get into a fight. But it is, again, FLYF with a lot of that spacing that's set up when Sword can get there. It looks like they're able to pull that one off, as they'll be front and center for this Dragon Soul fight.
All right, they're dropping the Rift Herald. Hopefully this time they will have learned from Tony Top's mistakes, and they will try to not trade this. I love that Levitate is playing super aggressively. Went for the RFC here, went for the Gale Force, is really trying to poke out the members. And now the rest of Tony Top are here. Remember, both top laners are going to have teleport coming up soon. Lunacius is the one that is not available, but he also has the Scion ult if they really need to get over here.
Coming up very, very shortly as well, so maybe in time. But the Everfrost actually already used a lot of preemptive damage onto Hyper, but you're getting Sword set up. He's starting to put down some of these turrets and get a lot of this spacing down. That blue ward will be utilized by Team Tony Top. Try to get a little bit of space. Tony Top himself is now backing to try to get back into this fight.
And they're really split here.
he's
Like,
not
Blaze
backing.
can make it over. If they really wanted to start this up, they could just
Change
go for
corruption.
it.
TP coming in. They've already almost killed Snow. Here comes Blaze as well over the top. From the top rope comes
Good.
FLYF. And now they're right onto the dragon.
I was wondering how they were going to use the Talia ultimate, and so they're going to trade top tier 1 for this third dragon. Ocean Drake, name of the game.
Oh, Sudsy just snuck over the wall.
They don't know
Are they gonna
he's
try to go
here.
for something?
I don't know if he can
has
necessarily steal it.
Yeah, I mean, all he has is the damage combo. It's not enough. We do see Instinct is the one that actually claims it in the end, but Sudsy, nice attempt. That will be the trade of that top tower for the third dragon of the game for FLYF.
Him, Sudsy, and Piosik in the same bag, not necessarily expecting how much damage Varus was going to do to the objectives. And so now, I mean, Rift Herald is sorry, not Rift Herald, there's a Baron spawning here. I mean, really, for Tony Top, this is a pretty rinse and repeat situation where you push out mid lane, and then you have your bot lane duo move into topside jungle. You already took the top tier 1. You can look to threaten, look to try to get out summoner spells away from FLYF.
We did get actually the Prowler's Call completed there for Instinct out the back of that fight, but we will have those second items really coming up across the board. Still looking for that kind of setup around objectives later on, especially now that Baron's on the table. See if anything finicky goes down, but it feels like both teams not really set up in damage for that, and we're looking at now FLYF trying to push up some vision.
In terms of damage, it is all eyes on Instinct. Like, Blaze is playing Talia and is also far behind, so he is kind of behind the curve, and you're really putting all the eggs into the Instinct basket. You want him to carry, you need him to carry, and maybe with this Prowler's Call, like we were talking about, they can get to that. I think the break point for Blaze is going to be able to finish this Seraphs.
They got the Nature Grats onto 2. They do lock down Snow. We got TP on the backside, and that's from Tony Top, who lands with a critical counter-strike, and he's right on the Instinct, but here comes the choo-choo train. Lunacia separating a little bit. You've got a double kill already for Levitate. Tony Top makes it away, and now Blaze just trying to capitalize. Huge stop from Wallflower, and Blaze is left with nothing. Team Tony Top, baby!
Oh, he may have name changed, but man, is he looking iconic in both of these games here. As we get to catch the replay of this fight, I mean, Snow just gets caught out. There's nothing you do. We've seen a repeat of this, and right here, without a Chains of Corruption, without a lot of their CC available, they cannot stop Tony Top. An Instinct goes down. They're all trying to get away. This was really well played, and a good start for FLYF turns into an amazing fight as Wallflower cancels Talia ride, and they get another kill. So
and this man switched away from Iconic because he felt like it didn't match his personality, the way that he approached. But my God, this man is iconic every time he hits the rip. There's so many times where his name, his old name at least, had come into fruition. But it is Wallflower who has represented for Team Tony Top, especially in this series, and against FLYF, against Hyper, who he lauded so well with all the steals, the control. But man, Team Tony Top are really representing here, and they have FLYF backs against the wall here in Game 2.
Wallflower, silent but deadly, and Hyper coming in, trying to throw hands, trying to always go for something. I love to see it. I'm really glad that we're getting kind of a revitalized Tony Top. We've been talking about how typically they're a bit of a slower team, but so far Wallflower's been finding his edge, and now just throwing out ultimates. These are hey, glancing blows. You stay on your side, we're gonna stay on ours. But Dragon coming up in a minute and a half. We'll see how the side lanes are set up here, as Ari's already making her roam down, pushed in the top side, and Talia's trying to get some damage down bot side, trying to pull different members away so they don't lose this mid tier 1.
I actually do see the catch out there. Actually, Flash having to be burned by Hyper. The Chains of Corruption came out as well, so some tools down. And I feel like for the Maokai, the Flash is super important. Obviously, still has the Hex Flash available, but big thing I'm building here is the fact that we have some solid team fighting coming out from Team Tony Top, but they also have control over some side lane pressure. And now it's looking at the timer here where they're going to set up around this dragon, because FLYF are absolutely going to try to fight over this.
We've been talking about how important Instinct is to their game plan this game, but look on the opposite side. Levitate is really far ahead, almost 2,000 gold, and he is playing, again, this first strike Lucian where you're not necessarily looking to try and take a really long fight, but you are looking to burst, use the Gale Force aggressively, trying to find trades where, against the squishier members, may not be able to withstand the poke from this Lucian.
FLYF with move towards mid lane. We said how important it is for them to get the objectives first. get those turrets down, and have that spacing. They will try to utilize that now. They have good vision control here, but here comes Team Tony Top.
They are not in position for this. Look at this. Jax. Ari is teleporting into the bottom lane to push this out. Is going to be coming in from a flank, and there are no wards for the side of FlyFam on the bottom side. And because this is an Ocean Drake, cool piece of geography here, there are more bushes, so Sudsy can get into position, and they've completely lost it. I think FlyFam, they maybe even try to threat for the Baron, and Team Tony Top, they do not want any of that.
This is dicey. I don't know. I mean, they're going to bring everyone here, it looks like, to try to contest this. Are FlyFam going to pull the trigger?
Blaze can ult.
They pull the fight. We'll see the Weaver's Wall used to block off. Does Wallflower make it across? He does. He gets over. Can he get into the pit? Is he going to reminisce of what Hyper has done before? 3,000 health on the Baron. It's getting low. He's in the pit, but Hyper secures it once again. But now you got the resets for Wallflower, and Lunasia's caught out again. The Counter-Strike comes through. FlyFam, they are indecisive, and they pull away. They lose 2 members.
They're going to lose 2 members. They're not going to grab, they're going to get the Baron, but they're also going to lose the Dragon. So that soul that we were talking about is going to be delayed another 5 minutes. And because of the map state, they lose the mid turret as well. So FlyFam, I don't necessarily know if this was worth it. We'll see in the end if they're able to pull it out in a victory. But this right here, this interaction where he's up against the wall and it shoves him is a massive game changer. And I do want to give props over to FlyFam. Heimerdinger is creating a huge problem for Sudsy because Sudsy can almost never throw out a charm, but Tony Top is sitting in this backline. Instinct is very rarely able to actually put out all this damage because you're based on so many spells, and they just have to be able to get out.
It's just every time I see these replays, I just keep asking myself the same question. Why is Jax in this game? And it's honestly mind-boggling. I love the fact that they've been able to opt into this because Tony Top is lethal as hell on this pick. We know this. We've seen this. And time again, he represents it. I think you're having a holistic effort from the team. The resets for Wallflower are huge. His advantage singularly over Hyper is huge, but it's set up with this side lane pressure. It's set up with the fact that the backside of FlyFam every time is getting Counter-Strike.
Regardless of the result of this match, I hope this means that people will actually start to respect Tony Top's Jax.
Respect the name, man.
Yeah, like, apparently top laners in Challengers League just get no respect. Like, Moose Hater for a long time wasn't grabbing Garen bans, and now FlyFam are kind of feeling the wrath of that Tony Top Jax.
They are feeling the wrath indeed. A 4.3k gold lead for Team Tony Top, but it is FlyFam who are on the preemptive strike with this Baron buff for another minute. We'll try to get a tier 2, but it should just be traded by Sudsy.
Sudsy was with a pretty massive wave here as well. FlyFam really want to try and use the last minute of this Baron. There's the Lucian calling. I think this is still a really good position. This Nature's Grasp, all it does, you're just holding spot. You're just holding the position to take this turret.
Should get one more shot from that cannon minion, and the reset had come through. Actually, TP on the back.
They want this.
This is Tony Top. He's coming in, and he'll find Blaze first. He is trying to find Instinct, though. That is the end-all, be-all, and he finds 4 members. He's looking for a 4-man Counter-Strike. He goes right in on Instinct, but he flashes away. The Weaver's Wall blocks the rest of Team Tony Top off.
Are they going to keep going for this? Wallflower, does he try to ult over this wave? There it is, okay. He's going for it. They've got Sudsy using the ult.
Going for the end. The throat is open, and they have a knife ready to go. We'll see if they can get the connection here. This is a long con if I've ever seen one. Tony Top, you've overextended now, and they will capitalize. But look at Wallflower. If they get one reset, that makes the difference, but Sudsy has fallen, and what is going on?
I don't know what Tony Top are doing. They lost their minds.
No. You overextend, and you get shoved straight into your death.
Oh, I mean, Blaze just made a huge comeback right there for his team. That Talia Weaver wall stops Wallflower from getting into the fight. It stops the rest of Tony Top from connecting with Tony. And now, I mean, that's a huge misplay from them. They're not only just missing out on gold, but now they can come back, teleport in, and look to grab that inhibitor that they didn't finish off.
They want a little bit of their lasting damage as well. As now they should be able to open this one up. They'll use another Nature's Grasp there. They still have about 10 seconds for Sudsy. They should get that inhib down.
Deja vu. I mean, like, what can we say? They're back at the inhibitor line, throwing the Nature's Grasp. The entire time, Instinct did not have that ultimate, and maybe if they had that, they would have been able to turn a little bit earlier onto Tony Top. But fantastic play from them, and really mind-boggling from Tony Top as to what exactly, like, the play could have ended so much earlier.
It could have. But you know what? Sometimes you're a little bloodthirsty. And with the advantage they have a little bit of breathing room, you know, because if they do get that catch out, it's a huge reset for Wallflower. It's a huge fight win, right? And they can push down that bottom side. So I can see where their head's at. Execution definitely still on the table here.
I mean,
go ahead.
They don't get anything for that, right? Like you push all of it. Let's imagine they do that, right? They push all the way in, and there's no objectives. There's nothing for them to do. There's no wave because there's a super minion wave. So really, they're just trying to ego on their opponents, and
a little bit of mental advantage there. That's all you need.
I guess so. There's no teleport now. Dragon's coming up in a minute. Remember, it's that soul that we were talking about, and Sudsy does have the teleport. So look at how FlyFam are going to be controlling the bot side of the map here because they opened up that inhibitor.
It feels like a more standard setup for them than last time around. Last time they were kind of getting push and pulled. Now we'll see Hyper go in preemptively. The rest of his team has to come save him. He has so much damage onto him. That will be his health bar gone.
I mean, that was just Hex Flash. He like Hex Flash forward, trying to maybe bait out some positioning, and then ran into two members of Tony Top. Him backing is huge here for Tony Top. They should be able to grab another Dragon, and because the objectives are desynced in terms of their timers, FlyFam can't even try to sneak away a Baron in this position.
Yeah, that'll be 2 Dragons in a row unless they can find a way to collapse from mid lane that go down to Team Tony Top. Look like Team Tony Top, they want to collapse. They know that Hyper's not here. Sword is blown out of the water, and he's just gone.
Okay, that was a really good spot. Again, Levitate using the aggressive nature of this Lucian, the Gale Force. You can catch Sword out of position, and that's going to be the Dragon started up for Tony Top. FlyFam, maybe they just try to cut them off at the pass, try to control the mid lane and stop them from taking Baron. But there's also this bot wave that they have to continue to answer to. So Tony Top's mistakes from a couple of minutes ago are still haunting them here. And now it's going to force out Sudsy for using the teleport.
Oh goodness, FlyFam a little bit torn in their decision here. They don't really want to go for this. They don't have Sword. They don't have their objective securing. They don't have that spacing we were talking about, and that pulls them off. They'll have to get it back off.
Man, this is frustrating for FlyFam because they're just like, please, the game is still pretty even. Like, we feel like we're still in position, and we touched on it earlier, but specifically here for Blaze, who started to catch up in terms of the gold. This is as even as I think the game is going to get for FlyFam, unless another huge mistake, unless Tony Top play very aggressively again and they get punished for it. This is the point of the game where FlyFam need to stake their claim, as we're going to stay in this series and we're going to try to take this game back from Tony Top.
And the biggest gold advantages are through Wallflower, are through Levitate. Levitate's on 4 items now on the Lucian, just that one couple away from being that full build. And I think that's a big sticking point here. I know I was talking about, you know, Lucians in general as a whole, but I think Levitate has really stepped up to the plate here on a pick that in this composition can get caught out so well, it's not happening.
He is utilizing max range like RFC, Gale Force combos really, really well, and specifically focusing out Sword. We talked about the reset potential. Look at how much damage. This is what you're supposed to do on First Strike Lucian. I know you've been watching some LPL Lucian Namis, but hopefully Levitate and Stowe have been watching maybe some JDG, maybe some BLG, you know?
It's looking real good for Team Tony Top. And it was the way that they approached this draft, right? Obviously, no, we're going to grab the Jax if it's open, but it's the aggressivity that came behind it, the rest of the team that enables that so well.
And I like the map state that Tony Top are trying to flex right now, where you obviously have Wallflower who can bounce between lanes, but no one is heading down for this bot side. Blaze is going to be late for this, and despite having a super minions flood through these waves, the side lanes for Tony Top are going to be really, really good here for them to threaten for either a Baron or looking for potential picks as they try to collapse onto mid lane.
Seemed like FlyFam were actually trying to position around mid, but didn't really have anything to go for. Then try to collapse around top side, but can't really find anything either.
That's
now Lunacia locked down. He can't get out. He flashes. And there's that unstoppable onslaught used. The tier 2 in the bot side getting worse for wear here, as Tony Top should just take that one down.
There's so much focus in top side. Tony Top just gets to wail away at this turret, more gold into their back pocket, and going to continue to accentuate that lead as the inhibitor is going to be spawning. So right now, FlyFam and the rest of the entire team need to find some Hyper.
He baited him. He baited Hyper over the wall and burned his flash.
He can't get in.
He doesn't have a way to get in the pit. What a big brain move. Hyper, though, did a lot of damage in the meantime, so the rest of Tony Top will have to back out of this one, but it was a bait and a half.
FlyFam, they got the Baron wearing the FlyFam colors at this point, right? Like, that the Baron doing so much damage to Sudsy. Sudsy, if he wants, he can back, he can go for a teleport, but is instead going to stay here. And Tony Top going to get spotted by this Heimerdinger turret. It is so difficult for them to actually step into the pit, especially now that Hyper does not have Flash. He's going to have to utilize that Hex Flash really, really well. And this entire time, they don't even walk back mid, so they just lose out on this.
They're just losing everything across the map. Team Tony Top, honestly, I've been beyond impressed with the way that they've rotated around the map, the decisions they're making in the macro game against FlyFam. It's actually so impressive, and they've been picking them apart one by one.
Ooh. This is such a good spot for them. I'm glad that we're seeing some of our qualifier teams really start to step it up. We saw yesterday Maryville kind of hold the banner and they were taking down Last Dance. Now this time around, our tier 3, hey, the tier 3 teams are winning.
Represent, man.
Let's go.
Everyone always talks about the doubters and the haters, but here we are, the supporters coming out for Team Tony Top. And again, like you said, another qualifier team who is making one step forward. If they take this game, they are one best of from qualifying for the LCS Challengers in summer, and that would be an incredible step up. Would love to see if they can close this one out. They have the lead to do so, but FlyFam ever present in the moment.
Oh, here we go, Sudsy. He finds the pick onto Sword. That's the flash and the ultimate not available. The dragon has spawned in the next 20 seconds. They're trying to get really aggressive here, but there's no Sudsy ult anymore.
And Sudsy just keeps hitting the charms, and this forces FlyFam's hand.
Lunacia!
In, and Lunacia getting so low. Here comes Tony Top. He gets locked down. Lunacia's dead. Goes zombie mode and putting in damage down. He doesn't actually get a lot back, though. And that'll be a big frontline member of FlyFam down.
They can't even go for this dragon. I mean, unless Hyper comes up with one of his massive clutch steals, he's not in the area. It looks like they're more focused on making sure that Tony Top does not take away this Baron. And this should at least be a tier 2 in mid lane. They should try to go for this. It's only instinct. Maybe you can try to force out his flash. But, I mean, FlyFam, they're just not doing anything. Like, they're not looking for plays. They're not going for aggressive looks. And Tony Top are just lapping up saying, yes, keep letting us dictate the pace of the game to you.
And it's about the way they've kind of approached a lot of the pressure moments as well. I think Team Tony Top has really been pushing the buttons of FlyFam where they're trying to make decisions, they're trying to calculate what the next move is, and Team Tony Top pounce. And I think that you're able to find a lot of this. We saw 3 dragons go over to FlyFam, right? That is a historical piece at this point.
We take those.
Because we've had 3 straight dragon takes from Team Tony Top, 3 ocean dragon takes, by the way, and putting themselves in position to contest over a 7th dragon, our end-all be-all, but also just have such an advantage that they can, again, like you said, dictate the pace of the game.
Well, Lennon, we've got time now because Dragon's not spawning for another 4 minutes. You've got Baron
a 4-minute timer.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're waiting for Ocean Soul. Baron has been really important for how Tony Top have found victories and how they've been able to push this game. But FlyFam right now, they're not looking to give this up. I think they've really started to kind of slow down their pace of the game because they're just grouping a lot.
Yeah.
They are grouping, I think, excessively so, and we're seeing how Sudsy and Tony Top are excellently playing the side lane. Makes it so difficult for them. They're just grouped up in Death Ball, walk into the river, arms linked, saying, if you can't kill all 5 of us, you're not going to kill one of us.
This is the only play on the table, is to try to force a Baron play, right? And they even just start heading there. Sudsy's like, no, I'll just TP. I'll be here. Because they know they can contest it. And I think FlyFam are struggling to find an in here because it is difficult to find an in. Unless you get an absolute pick-off, you're trying to force the hand of a team that's playing so well through the side lanes, you don't really have an answer. You're getting pulled apart on both sides.
Levitate just E'd forward and took half of Blaze's HP. And it is so difficult. I mean, we've seen it. If you've been kind of taking a look, I'll hold that as instinct.
Okay, a little bit of catch down. Levitate getting a little bit low. That Chains of Corruption actually connecting on a 2 now. Now Wallflower on the side there, stopping Hyper. Nothing else going to come of it, just a couple ultis.
I wanted to talk about how sad it feels sometimes when you're going on the FlyFam. These players, they did have a rough season. Obviously, we saw them a resurgence in the back half of the split, but specifically Blaze took a lot of criticism online, everybody saying like, wow, this guy is getting bodied in a lot of their matchups. And while we have seen a lot of their growth throughout the season, this feels like a return to form in not the best way for FlyFam. I want to see them be active. We see Hyper on a tank, we see Lunacia on a tank. This moves away from some of the really promising things that we saw from them, and hopefully at the final hour we can kind of get it from them, but it's getting bleaker and bleaker for them.
Unfortunately, you can't change the picks once you've already locked Octavin.
I mean, we're 40 minutes in. We're way past that one.
And I feel like that's the thing for me that's not disheartening, so to speak, but something I was looking forward to was Lunacia being played through and into,
Yes.
right? He was a man that was taking top lane 1v1s and actually finding advantages against some of our best top laners in the LCS Challengers. And I wanted to see that coming to this one. They opted into a different style, putting a lot of eggs into Instinct's basket. And now we need the carry to step up for FlyFam, or they will find themselves in the lower bracket.
Okay, trying to look for something. Lunacia just using the Silent, trying
Just
to
in the
find
side lane. You don't have a response.
They're opening up inhibitors, and now they're even canceling the backs here. FlyFam cannot move.
I mean, he might just be able to end the game. If they can't stop the backs, or if they stop the backs, rather, he just ends the game.
Yeah.
The Weavers won't back, but Blaze has no health. They've already cut out Sword. And I don't know if they can stop this. Okay, it looks like Tony Top will stop at least of stopping a back.
They're going to get the Baron. They're going to start at the Baron immediately. They're spending so many members. I mean, okay. Blaze, okay, so important thing. Blaze got rid of his teleport to go for Exhaust on the spellbook. Will not have they Smite if they wanted to go for some cheeky steals between him and his jungler. But now FlyFam, they need to hoof it on over. It looks like instead they're just going to give it up. They can't do it.
And you thought side lane pressure was hard to deal with before. You're getting pulled apart at the seams now as the Baron buff comes alive for Team Tony Top.
Oof. All right, 10,000 gold. It's going to need a couple of miracles in a row for FlyFam. It's going to take team fight expertise from them to really try to pull it back here. As Tony Top, they're looking to move on. They're looking to be one best of away from qualifying. And similar for them on the opposite side, if FlyFam are to lose this, they still have another chance at continuing on in this tournament. There is a lower bracket for them to play in. So not going to be all doom and gloom for them, but definitely would be a hamper on their early promotion tournament.
What I love for Team Tony Top here is we talked so much about the experience coming through, right? Tony Top, Wallflower, Sudsy. We're talking about the newness of Levitating Snow. It's been both Wallflower having incredible jungle matches, but Levitating Snow having incredible matches of their own. The strength coming out of the side lanes. It feels like everybody is kicking right now on Team Tony Top.
It seems like Levitating Snow have kind of dialed in on what they want to do, right? In the laning phase, we saw their Zeri Lulu, something that they've been playing a lot in the qualifiers. And similar here, it feels like finally they've kind of honed in on that sharp knife point that is Levitate's Lucian with the Nami, and they're executing really, really well. Now with an Ocean Drake in their back pocket, the Baron as well. I mean, FlyFam, I don't know how they find kills at this point. Like, they need Tony Top to be in a very bad position, and maybe a few more happy accidents.
Elixir of Iron in the pocket of Tony Top. You also have full items completed for Levitate, getting close for Sudsy. It is a siege coming up here. We don't have that much longer on the Baron buff, about 1 minute and 20 seconds left on this one, but there's already an open wound on bottom side, and Team Tony Top are taking full advantage.
It would be so important for Tony Top if they were able to not only win this one, but obviously put them in pole position to try to grab a promotion spot into LCS Challengers League. All these guys really want to go pro. Like, we talked about it earlier with Wallflower, how he really wants to play on stage. Sudsy has been grinding for years to make it to this point, to make it into Challengers League. I mean, even Tony Top, someone who kind of disappeared for a little bit and came back, he is like, I'm focusing on school, I'm still streaming a ton, but I think I'm still an LCS, like a Challengers League player. I think I still have what it takes. So if he's able to make it back, it would be the ultimate testament to that kind of ability.
It absolutely would, right? And the fact that we do have all this history between these guys, but a new moment for them to rise and shine in this occasion. There's one last fight left for FlyFam, and it ain't looking too pretty. The fam is going down one at a time, and you better call somebody, because there ain't nobody left to call in this game. Team Tony Top will clean house against FlyFam and take a 2-0 and put themselves one series away from qualifying for the LCS Challengers.
I don't know if maybe it was because I streamed like 90% of their games or whatnot, maybe because I'm on the broadcast. I don't want to take anything away from Wallflower and crew. Team Tony Top, they just went completely supered over this game. Like,
yeah, they did.
That is an insane series from them.
Hey, you give him the Jax, and he delivers every time. The namesake of the team, but also the team coming together. The 5 guys with a dream. We'll actually get a chance to talk to somebody from the team after a short little break, as on the other side of this, we'll have our interview with Smacks.
Hello, everybody. We're back with the Verizon post-game interview with the victorious mid laner of Team Tony Top. Sudsy is here after that astonishing 2-0 victory against FLYF. I gotta first start off by congratulating you on the win. I don't think a lot of people were actually expecting like such a dominating performance from you guys, but you definitely showed up. Yeah.
Oh well, it's crazy. I mean, I checked before we even started the games. I checked the percent, and Tony Tops was 70%. You know, just like where it should be.
Well, the chat, I guess, was on your side then for that one, because the chat is the one who votes. But yeah, I mean, I bet a lot of them cashed out on their Twitch chat points for that.
Oh, absolutely. We got some rich individuals in the chat now. It's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. You're filling some pockets. So I got some questions for you. I guess that's how interviews work. But I want to know what brought you back to playing in Semi-Pro League after taking that break that you did in 2022?
I was never going to come back, to be honest. I have, he's pretty good where I'm at right now in my life, but my buddy Ethan, Money, Mr. Wallflower asked me, he said, hey, if I make a team, are you going to play on it? Because, you know, I'm an amateur, so I was like, you know, if you make a team, I was denying pretty much everybody because I just didn't want to do it, but me and Ethan have been together for a long time, you know, 6+ years, so I was like, yeah, let's do it again. He told me that the roster was like me, Tony, him, and at that I was like, that's a fantastic roster. And then Levitate and Snow, and I was like, I haven't heard much about these guys, but this looks good enough to me. So let's run it one more time. And I'm glad I did. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. It has been very fun to watch. I think it's fair to say that even the new players to you at the time, Levitate and Snow, have surpassed expectations as well.
Sure.
Speaking of expectations, what were your expectations coming into this specific event? Were you like super confident that you were going to promote off of this one? Maybe even just talking about the FLYF match specifically.
I mean, we were insanely confident. I wasn't prepared to lose at all. I think today, I had a lot in my own life today, which made me a little uncomfortable going into it. But at the same time, I mean, like, we're really good. We're gonna defeat people who aren't better than us, so that's just how it is. You know, I have no doubt. You know, we've had some bumps in the past, but overall, I know and I trust all my guys to do their job, and I know how good they are. So as long as they don't have any jitters, I mean, you see what happens.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear you're doing okay as well. I'm sure you'll get through whatever it is that you've got going on. I gotta ask, how good was FLYF compared to Maryville, the winners of the qualifiers?
So Maryville, yeah, they're a tough topic because they always kick us out of every tournament. Now me and Maryville, I mean, I it's a love-hate relationship because I love some of their players and I hate some of the other players. You know, like me and Scary Jerry have gotten into it in solo queue. It was like friendly, and then it was not friendly, and now it's like I hate to see him succeed. You know, I'm his #1 biggest hater, and he keeps on winning. So, you know, if there's a way to bring him down a notch, I'm 100% doing it. You know, like it sucks that, you know, we got like Odd Orange, Get Back Niles. I like everyone. Zyko, I haven't talked much, but you know, he seems all right. But I like them all. But then Scary Jerry, like, I hate to see him winning. So he's the one I have to bring down. And he's hard to bring down. He's pretty good. So.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Would you say that team was better than FLYF as you've now played against them both?
I don't know what FLYF usually does. We don't really scrim against them, but I know Maryville can be insane on the day, or they can have an off day. So there's a lot of variance, but Maryville can definitely just pop off like very hard. So a lot of times, if you think you're doing well versus Maryville in a couple scrims, they're waiting to lurch on you. And be careful, you can't disrespect them.
All right, well, we'll see them play tomorrow. I'll see you play on Thursday now as well, as after this win. I have a bit of a hypothetical situation for you that I hope you'll shed some light on. Okay. So we know you guys have gone through a few rebrands here. You're stuck on Team Tony Top with Tony himself as the team logo. If the 5 of you were to promote from this tournament, make it into NACL in the summer, but if Tony were to get promoted to a Challengers team, and you had to get a new top laner, would you rebrand? And if you would, would it be a different player as the logo and the team name?
No, Tony's already signed the contract. He's already given it up.
Okay, he gave
Doesn't
you his
matter where
intellectual
he
property.
goes, his face is ours now. It's Tony. It's Team Tony Top, whether he's on it or not. So.
Ooh. Okay.
He signed it. He could have read the contract, but he chose not to. I mean, like, talk to him about it. We have his face now, and we are branding. We're working on sweaters, hoodies. DM Jito if you want to learn more about that.
All right, yeah, I'll have to give him a message. I want to get in on this merch here. All right,
Sure.
well, I appreciate that heads up. I'm looking forward to that. Do you have any messages that you would like to send to the people who did not think that your team would win this match or do super well in this event? The haters.
No haters, bro. Stop hating. Just watch. Just watch. Enough hating. Just watch. I've seen so many people flop. They're always flopping. And you know what? You can flop all you want to, but just know we see you and we're coming for you. Every single one of us. We stand behind Tony and we line up and we push forward. And every single hater is getting fucking thrown down like a pinball or a bowling ball, a bowling pin.
Ah, yeah. Got it. All right, you got there in the end. Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you so much for the interview here, Sudsy. Best of luck in your games, I believe, on Thursday against the winners of this next matchup. And speaking of that next matchup, we'll be watching that very shortly after a very quick break, so stay tuned before we get on to TLF versus Taco in a little bit.